This is what Swan writes. They intend to stack thousands of mid-level staff jobs. Well-funded groups are already developing lists of candidates selected often for their animus against the system, in line with Trump's long-running obsession with draining the swamp. This includes building executive databases of people vetted as being committed to Trump and his agenda. The preparations are far more advanced and ambitious than previously reported. What is happening now is an inversion of the slapdash and virtually non-existent infrastructure surrounding Trump ahead of his 2017 presidential transition. These groups are operating on multiple fronts, shaping policies, identifying top lieutenants, curating an alternative labor force of unprecedented scale, and preparing for legal challenges and defenses that might go before Trump-friendly judges all the way to a 6-3 Supreme Court. Again, they're making it sound like this is so bad when, if you'll remember, one of the left's primary complaints that was constant throughout the Trump administration was the revolving door of Trump administration officials. Every time a well-known name who served in the Trump administration left, the mainstream media was like, oh my goodness, the end of the world. This person's leaving. Everything is disorganized. Who knows who's running what? We're in the hands of a madman who can't keep anybody around him. So marry that or contrast that with what this article is saying, that, oh my goodness, President Trump is planning for the next time. He's thinking about who he might staff with so that he picks better staff members. He actually wants to create lists of potential candidates who might fit certain positions. And they're painting this as if it's bad. Because why? Well, because Trump derangement syndrome doesn't have any ideological bent except for hating President Trump. It's not that a revolving door is bad in and of itself if the people are bad. It's not that preparing a list of potential staffers that might be qualified for certain positions is bad. It's that Trump's involved with both. That's why Axios, that's why the left is so afraid of this. So Swan goes on to talk about the centerpiece of this plan. He says Trump signed an executive order it's called Creating Schedule F in the Accepted Service in October of 2020, which established a new employment category for federal employees. It received wide media coverage for a short period, then was largely forgotten in the mayhem and aftermath of January 6th, and quickly was rescinded by President Biden. Sources close to Trump say that if he were elected to a second term, he would immediately reimpose it. Tens of thousands of civil servants who serve in roles deemed to have some influence over policy would be reassigned as Schedule F employees. Upon reassignment, they would lose their employment protections. New presidents, Swan writes, typically get to replace more than 4,000 so-called political appointees to oversee the running of their administrations. But below this rotating layer of political appointees sits a mass of government workers who enjoy strong employment protections and typically continue their service from one administration to the next, regardless of the president's party affiliation. An initial estimate by the Trump official who came up with Schedule F found it could apply to as many as 50,000 federal workers, a fraction of the workforce of more than 2 million, but a segment with a profound role in shaping American life. Trump, in theory, Swan writes, could fire tens of thousands of career officials with no recourse for appeals. He could replace them with people he believes are more loyal to him and his America First agenda. Even if Trump did not deploy Schedule F to this extent, the very fact that such power exists could create a significant chilling effect on government employees. So when I read this piece for the first time, that was actually the sentence that stuck out at me the most. I'm going to read it again. Even if Trump did not deploy Schedule F to this extent, the very fact that such power exists could create a significant chilling effect on government employees. What do you mean? What kind of chilling effect? How would the threats of possibly being an at-will employee, meaning if you're not doing the job the president wants you to do, that he could fire you, how would that chill government employees?